And welcome back to Straight Talk. So before the break, we were talking about, what's going on and some of the ideas. I know that one of the I guess the focus right now is on community watch, and I heard a lot of discussion over a couple of times that I had gone to those meetings, and some people, not a lot, but some people feel that, how are we going to be able to do that? And what is it going to entail, and all those things. People, I guess in some respects, I'll let you, because I know that you were covering some of it, but I just want to, my train of thought is that the least amount of work, because people don't want to, I don't want to go on patrol, I don't want to do this, you don't have to. It's just a matter of going to your neighbors, giving them your phone number, taking their phone number, and saying that if you go out of town, just let me know, and I'll keep an eye on. I'm going to keep an eye anyway, but if you're going out, just let me know, and if there's something, I'll call you or call somebody who's taking care of your house at the time. That something that looks out of the ordinary. So something is as small as that. You don't have to go patrol, and you don't have to do all those things. But it's just a matter of keeping an extra eye out for
your neighbor.
That's it exactly, really. It's neighbors watching out for neighbors. You don't have to do anything other than just keep your eyes open and be vigilant. And it's really about coming together. When you bring your neighborhoods together under a neighborhood watch, you know who your neighbors are, you're more familiar with them. When you're more familiar with your neighbors, you want to protect them. They become your friends. And neighborhood watch is it's starting to get organized now. We're waiting for the peacekeepers to let us know what resources are available to us for the creation of this program. There's a national program for neighborhood watch in effect in Canada, and there is a lot available to us. So we're basically just waiting for Mr. Zachary to get back to us and let us know what's there for us. We took a preliminary sign-up sheet to one of the meetings, and I'd gotten about 80 names already. And throughout my daily business too, I'll take names from my customers and add them to the list, just so that when we do get organized and started, we have a group of people who are ready to work. We're ready to work with.
And I think for the most part, like just the talk of neighborhood watch, neighbors are actually starting to talk now, whereas you see it a lot of times, it's like, okay, well, I live next to this one and this one, but we don't talk. And
there's a lot of confusion too as to what a neighborhood watch really is. Some people think it's going out on patrol. Some people think it's going and getting involved and, finding out, well, who's that guy standing on the side of the road there? It's really observe and report. That's the best thing to do. This is a neighborhood watch. It's not a community patrol. This neighborhood watch is neighborhood watch. Some of the others are talking about community patrol. That's a separate entity, in my opinion.
Okay.
But I've noticed since this whole movement started, like I have a police scanner at home, of course, and we've been putting it out there that if you see something suspicious, call it in. Don't go try and apprehend somebody on your own because you don't know, right? But call it in, and I've noticed that it's been busy. People are calling and no one's turning a blind eye anymore.
Peacekeepers will also confirm that. I was speaking to them yesterday, and they said since all of this issue happened and the meeting started, they've been getting they've been getting
more calls.
They've been getting more calls than they usually get.
And that's the important thing, is that if you do see something, call the police. Obviously, if there's a vehicle that's in the area and you feel that they're doing something that they shouldn't be, a lot of times the police aren't there, if you can follow them, but not too close, and don't interfere, and just try to get a direction, a color, and make and model,
And
the
don't
individuals,
be shy.
the individuals, who are they, clothes that they're wearing, as much description as possible so that they can do it.
I know that for myself, it's like sometimes, like if I'm outside in the evening or if I'm walking or whatnot, and then I hear if I see something, I always make a note of it in my head, and I look at my watch. Okay, it's this such and such a time, and then I just note these things that I have to remember in case something. More often than not, it's like it really doesn't matter. But in a case that's something that I think that's just. It's a social responsibility. Yeah. It's not just Ganawage, but I think socially, like even when I'm in the city, I note things. If you see an accident or whatever, just just to be part of the larger community. And again, like I said, I think it's a social thing, just to keep your eyes peeled.
Yeah.
That's all. And that's just the connection with your surroundings and your environment. And, you know, it helps protect yourself, and it also helps protect others.
Well, on a quick story, after one of our meetings, I believe it was Friday night, everybody had left the green space, and we still had our bonfire going, and there was myself and 2 other women sitting there, and we were talking about life, death, and struggles and stuff. And 3 cars raced up the K103 driveway, dust all over, and 6 non-locals get out. And they're cracking open their beers, throwing cans all over, they're smoking up, we could smell it. So we called the peacekeepers right away, and I says, of all times, you know, like, right place for us, wrong time for them. We just finished a meeting. Sure enough, the peacekeepers got there, and 2 got arrested for possession. I mean, they pulled a big bag right out of their car, and it was like, but these are the things that we can't turn a blind eye to, because for all we know, who knows who they could have been. And we're 3 women sitting in a field and 6 guys. Anything could have happened, right? So we have to be mindful of who we're inviting into the community as well. You know, if we're talking about safety, let's be mindful who we're bringing in.
Okay.
You know, I had a discussion the other day about, I guess, community patrols and whether they were useful or whether they weren't, and a lot of conversation happened as a result of that, and checkpoints and things like that. You know, I know obviously it's not impossible to do checkpoints, but it's expensive. You know, it's expensive to put up checkpoints. It's expensive to man them. You know, then the electricity, then the upkeep of them, and if they're wood stoves, then the wood, and there's so much expense to doing that. Is like, wouldn't it be a bad thing if there was money available to do it, but there's not, and it would be a difficult situation, and I hate to go backwards, you know, in a community because we should be moving forward, but I still believe that there should be other types of I guess patrols. Maybe not something that is going to interfere, but at least somebody where the eyes are there.
The community members have started doing that now. Nighttime they go out in their truck and cruise around town. I do it myself. I check my grandmother's house, and I do my street now.
You know, because in the 90s there was a few. I'll give you a few examples. In the 90s there was a few incidents where there was one where a person from our community got beat up by some non-natives, and it was just in the afternoon, in daylight. They stopped him and they beat him up. I won't go into all the other details, but we were looking for, and the police were looking for these individuals, and so we put it on the scanner that we were looking for this car and these individuals, and this is what happened, and all, you know. I would say within less than 5 minutes, we got a phone call from them, from the people who we were looking for, telling us where they were, because they tried to go into different locations, and the people from the community, I guess, had seen them, so they were trying. Anyway, they were more scared because they were blocked in the community, and then they called and we went arrest them, but it was because.
Help!
It was because the police, you know, we put it on the scanner, and a lot of people at the time were listening to scanner. It may be now, but I don't know. But it was that, you know, and that was the case. Or in the opposite, that the patrols had somebody that were committing a crime, and the police were there. So it was like we sort of like closed the community down. We went on the scanner, and basically the people were already out. And some were home. They basically closed the community down. We're looking for children that were missing. There was people out all over. It's not like that anymore. You know, it's there was an incident the other day, I guess, where there was a girl who had been missing, and it was strange that I even though I didn't know what the whole history of it was, it didn't seem like anybody was doing anything. You know
Besides
what I mean?
posting it
Except
on
that on Facebook.
But they were posting it on there, which is a good thing. But you didn't see anybody going out, and And with the Tiffany Morrison situation, that was one of the big things. You know, there was no
Foot patrols.
there was no group or there was no move to say, okay, we're all going to meet here and let's go to her last known location. And I thought that was a little strange.
Right.
That didn't happen. And why? Is it because we know each other and that we predetermined where that person was and we're not looking out? Because in the Tiffany Morrison situation, if there was something, even if it wasn't the day, the next day, maybe they would have been able to, coulda, woulda, shoulda, and what if, but we didn't do anything as a community, and nothing was organized. I think that maybe there should be some type of, I don't know, maybe a task force or something that's created to say that when something else like happens, this is what we're going to do. Even if you're out there for 8 or 10 hours looking and it's over,
But you're
at
looking.
least you look
Yeah.
in that general area or around the community and you're satisfied that the person might have just ran away as opposed to going into Corey or falling
Right,
and
right.
breaking their leg and still in the bush somewhere, or, or something like
Right.
that. There's so many
Yeah.
what ifs, but it didn't seem like anything was done. I'm sure the family did, but as a community, I don't, it didn't see it. You understand what I
Yeah,
mean? And it's
yeah.
like, it's a touchy situation.
It feels like a lot of times people just have their own agenda, you know, and
Well, I think
Well-
it's just that, not agenda, but I think people are just,
like
are busy,
Yeah.
and, it's
Or
like, it's
if
not
it
as
doesn't-
important, yeah.
yeah, or it doesn't involve me, kind of thing.
Right. And I hate to put a stop to this conversation, but we're just going to put it on pause for a second because we're going to be right back. We have to take care of some business and we'll be right back with more Straight Talk right after this.